From a blood spatter analyst who wrapped kill rooms in plastic and dumped bodies in the Gulf Stream, to a forensic psychiatrist who served his victims at dinner parties. In this video, we're comparing Dexter Morgan's evidence elimination against Hannibal Lecter's theatrical artistry. First up, we got intelligence. Forensic analyst versus forensic psychiatrist. Dexter Morgan operated with specialized forensic knowledge in blood-stain pattern analysis, specifically designed to eliminate physical evidence from crime scenes. Dexter worked for Miami Metro Police Department as their blood spatter analyst for almost 12 years. In the episode Crocodile, he testified under oath that he had been involved in 2,103 cases. His daily work involved photographing crime scenes, analyzing blood patterns, and understanding exactly how investigators process evidence. He understood DNA transfer, trace evidence collection, fiber analysis, and forensic examination procedures because he participated in these processes every single day. His kill rooms wrapped entire spaces in plastic sheeting to prevent fiber transfer, used surgical gloves to eliminate fingerprints, power saws for dismemberment, and contractor bags weighted with rocks for Gulf Stream disposal. Dexter's intelligence was specialized for avoiding detection. His forensic training meant that he knew exactly what crime scene investigators looked for. Plastic sheeting prevented fiber evidence and blood spatter. Dismemberment slowed identification, but did not completely prevent it, as seen in Season 2. Gulf Stream disposal carried remains thousands of miles into the Atlantic. When scuba divers discovered his dump site in Season 2, investigators only found skeletal remains with no evidence linking them to Dexter. Sergeant Doak suspected him based purely on instinct, but not physical evidence. Even with constant surveillance though, Doakes found nothing. Dexter's professional forensic training created near-perfect crime scenes where physical evidence simply didn't exist. But before we continue, if you're enjoying this breakdown, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Hannibal Lecter took a different approach to intelligence. Hannibal Lecter, a forensic psychiatrist in the books and films and a psychiatrist surgeon in the NBC series, possessed deep medical and psychological expertise that allowed him to understand human psychology, manipulate investigators, and create elaborate psychological games. Hannibal Lecter graduated from Johns Hopkins Medical Center with a degree in medicine before establishing a psychiatric practice in Baltimore. In the books and film, Hannibal is a respected Baltimore socialite. In the NBC series, he maintains the same elite status, but without explicit institutional ties. Lecter possessed an eidetic memory, constructing an elaborate memory palace to relive memories in rich detail. He was fluent in several languages, with refined taste in music, art, and cuisine. His medical expertise allowed him to perform violence with precision and understand the effects of his actions. He sat on the board of the Baltimore Philharmonic Orchestra and influenced patients to bequeath him money in their wills. Hannibal's intelligence was broader than Dexter's, but less specialized for crime scene investigation. His psychiatric training gave him psychological insight and manipulation abilities. His medical background meant that he understood anatomy and surgical procedures. His eidetic memory allowed him to perfectly recall. However, his education didn't include specific forensic training. Hannibal understood psychology and medicine, but lacked daily hands-on experience with crime scene investigation, evidence collection, or what investigators looked for when processing murders. His kills were theatrical and artistic, not designed for evidence elimination. Hannibal's psychiatric and medical expertise created psychological manipulation abilities, but lacked the specific forensic training required for evidence elimination. So here, the winner is Dexter. Specialized forensic blood spatter analysis with 12 years of crime scene investigation experience against psychiatric expertise. Dexter's daily professional involvement with evidence processing gave him practical knowledge Hannibal never possessed. Intelligence only matters if your methods actually work, though. Dexter followed identical forensic protocols for virtually every kill, eliminating randomness and physical evidence. Dexter's modus operandi followed identical steps. Research targets through police databases gathering evidence per Harry's Code, stalked targets to confirm crimes, selected pre-planned locations and wrapped them in plastic sheeting, approached targets and injected M99 tranquilizer, transported victims to kill rooms, restrained them with industrial shrink wrap, decorated rooms with victim photographs, killed with surgical knives to the heart, dismembered bodies with power saws, placed sections in contractor bags weighted with rocks, and dumped them in the Gulf Stream current. Every variable of that was controlled. Pre-selected locations meant no witnesses and no surprises. Plastic sheeting cut every drop of blood, strand of hair, and fiber. M99 injection prevented struggles or screams. Dismemberment prevented identification. Gulf Stream disposal made body recovery nearly impossible. The Bay Harbor Butcher investigation only happened because scuba divers accidentally discovered his dump site while searching for treasure, not through investigative work tracing evidence to Dexter. Otherwise, his victims simply vanished. Even when Deborah walked in on him killing Travis Marshall in season 6, it was catastrophically bad timing, not evidence leading her there. Dexter's methodical protocol created identical evidence-free crime scenes for well over 100 kills across 8 seasons. Compare that surgical precision to someone who turned murder into performance art. Hannibal Lecter created elaborate theatrical displays with his victims, prioritizing artistic presentation over evidence elimination. In the NBC television series, Hannibal operated as the Chesapeake Ripper, killing ensounders of 3. In the books and films, this specific pattern isn't described. His victims were killed and mutilated by cutting, sometimes dismembered, and left on display post-theatrically. In the NBC continuity, here's one example. The Ripper left a victim near a church pew using his severed tongue as a Bible page marker. In the book and film continuity, the 6th victim was laced to a pegboard mimicking Wound Man, an illustration from early medical books. Hannibal removed organs from victims which he consumed. He held dinner parties where he unknowingly served victims to colleagues as gourmet meals. His kills created haunting images. Hannibal's methods prioritized artistry over security. He left bodies in locations where they'd be discovered. His theatrical presentations created distinctive signatures investigators could recognize. He posed victims referencing art, literature, or religion. These demonstrated sophistication but created patterns. His dinner parties required transporting body parts, processing them, and serving without detection. Each display left physical evidence. Each posed body gave investigators clues about psychology and education. The distinctiveness made them memorable and connected, not invisible. Hannibal's theatrical methods created distinctive crime scenes designed for artistic expression, leaving physical evidence and investigative patterns at every scene. So, the winner is Dexter. Evidence elimination protocols that made victims disappear against theatrical displays left in public locations. Hannibal's artistic presentations guaranteed physical evidence and pattern recognition. Drop a comment and let me know which killer method you find more terrifying: Dexter's invisible disappearances or Hannibal's artistic displays. But perfect methods mean nothing if you choose the wrong targets. Dexter selected victims who were confirmed murderers evading justice, reducing investigation intensity and eliminating public sympathy. Throughout the series, Dexter followed Harry's code strictly, only kill after finding conclusive evidence targets were murderers who escaped the legal system. Harry taught him that he could only kill people after proving they're guilty of murder, and he must not get caught. In season 4, he hunted Arthur Mitchell, the Trinity Killer who committed murders over decades. In season 7, he killed Viktor Baskov, a Ukrainian contract killer. Every target required police database research, stalking to confirm guilt, and crime verification. His victims were criminals with no regular schedules, no concerned families filing reports, no media coverage. Dexter's victim selection created strategic advantages. Targeting criminals meant investigations didn't prioritize their disappearances. They were bad people whose vanishing didn't generate public sympathy or media pressure. Arthur Mitchell's disappearance triggered a missing person report from his wife, but police assume he fled. The Bay Harbor Butcher investigation only started because of accidental discovery, not because investigators were searching for Dexter's specific victims. Dexter's calculated criminal targeting meant his victims' disappearances generated minimal law enforcement response and zero public pressure for resolution. Hannibal took a completely different approach to choosing victims. Hannibal Lecter killed people who exhibited bad manners or offended his refined sensibilities, creating patterns based on social interactions. According to the novel, Hannibal Lecter prefers to eat the rude. He was deeply offended by rudeness and killed people who exhibited bad manners. Across books, films, and NBC series, Hannibal killed dozens of victims, though each continuity gives slightly different totals. His victim includes patients from his practice, people who insulted him, and individuals who got in his way. In the book and film continuity, Hannibal killed Benjamin Raspail, a patient whose heart he pierced with a stiletto, cannibalizing the pancreas and thymus and sharing them with musicians. In the TV series, his victims include Beverly Katz, the judge, Dr. Sutcliffe, and others. He influenced patients to bequeath him money before killing them. His selection was based on personal offense, not criminal background. Hannibal's victim selection created investigative advantages for law enforcement. His victims were often patients, Baltimore society members, or people he encountered personally. This created traceable connections. Investigators could identify patterns based on social circles and professional relationships. Unlike Dexter's victims, who were criminals nobody missed, Hannibal's were respected society members whose disappearances triggered immediate investigations. Patients' families pursued lawsuits. The FBI investigated 4 patients who died under his care. Multiple victims, being his own patients, created an obvious investigative starting point. Hannibal's pattern-based victim selection created obvious connections between the killer and victim, giving investigators clear starting points for their investigations. So once again, the winner is Dexter. strategic criminal targeting that reduces investigation intensity against victim selection based on personal offense that created traceable connections. Hannibal's approach guaranteed investigators could identify patterns linking him to victims. If you're enjoying this breakdown and want more long-form crime content, check out our compilation channel, Dexecutioner Longs, for extended deep dives. The link will be pinned in the top comment. But back on topic, perfect victims mean nothing if simple mistakes expose you. Dexter maintained operational security through professional knowledge, controlled environments, and complete evidence elimination. Throughout 8 seasons and over 100 kills, Dexter's near captures came from external factors, never forensic evidence. Sergeant Doe suspected him based on instinct, not physical evidence. The Bay Harbor Butcher investigation discovered his dump site through accidental discovery by scuba divers, not investigative work. And Dexter knew blood. After 10 years hiding in Iron Lake, he maintained cover until circumstances exposed him. He kept minimal trophies, microscope slides hidden behind his air conditioner. Dexter's operational security focused on prevention. He didn't take unnecessary risk or kill in public. He avoided pattern investigators could identify. His only vulnerability was human relationships. When FBI Special Agent Frank Lundy led the Bay Harbor Butcher Task Force in Season 2, he couldn't trace evidence back to Dexter. Dexter's operational security meant his near captures came from investigative factors and relationship complications, never from forensic mistakes or investigative patterns. But compare that professional discipline to someone who left his signature everywhere. Hannibal Lecter was caught through his own intellectual patterns and the recognition of his distinctive artistic signatures. In the book and film continuity, Hannibal was caught in 1975 when FBI profiler Will Graham investigated Baltimore murders. Graham sought Lecter after discovering he treated a victim for hunting wounds. When questioned, Lecter claimed not to remember the victim. Graham returned and noticed antique medical books in Lecter's office. He instinctively knew Lecter was the killer. The 6th victim was laced to a pegboard mimicking Wound Man, an illustration from early medical books. The Wound Man tableau comes directly from the Red Dragon novel, though NBC Hannibal uses Wound Man imagery symbolically. Graham realized the hunting wound matched the illustration. Graham left to call police, but Lecter attacked him with a linoleum knife, nearly disemboweling him. FBI agents and Maryland state troopers arrested Lecter while Graham spent months recovering. In the NBC series, a similar confrontation happens later, but with different circumstances. Hannibal's capture came from his own intellectual vanity. He couldn't resist creating artistic displays that reference his education and refined taste. In the book and film continuity, the Wound Man illustration in his office connected him directly to the victim's injuries. His treatment of one victim created a paper trail that led Graham to his practice. His need to create meaningful artistic presentations meant he left signatures investigators could recognize. Unlike Dexter, who eliminated patterns and connections, Hannibal created distinctive markers that demonstrated his sophistication. His intellectual arrogance meant he underestimated Will Graham's ability to recognize these patterns. The book and film Lecter is captured violently in his office. NBC Lecter is exposed by Will Graham in the Season 2 finale and later caught in Italy. In both continuities, his attempted violence, when discovered, confirmed his guilt. Hannibal's capture came from intellectual patterns he created, treatment records that established connection to victims, and his own violent response when discovered. So the winner in this is Dexter. Operational security that avoided forensic mistakes and eliminated patterns against intellectual vanity that created distinctive signatures and treatment records linking the killer to victims. Hannibal's need to demonstrate sophistication created the evidence that caught him. Dexter Morgan was methodical, calculated, professional. Throughout 8 seasons and over 100 kills, he operated with forensic precision designed to eliminate evidence. His kill rooms followed strict protocol. His victim selection targeted criminals who wouldn't be missed, and his body disposal made recovery nearly impossible. Hannibal Lecter was sophisticated, theatrical, artistic. Across the books and films and NBC series, Hannibal killed dozens of victims, creating elaborate displays demonstrating his refined taste. His victims became gourmet meals and artistic presentations. This comparison reveals the difference between operational effectiveness and intellectual demonstration. Dexter's forensic training meant that he understood trace evidence, DNA transfer, and blood spatter analysis professionally. He testified in 2,103 cases. He worked daily with crime scene investigators and understood their procedures. Hannibal's psychiatric training, forensic psychiatrist in books and films, psychiatrist and surgeon at NBC, gave him psychological insight and anatomical knowledge, but lacked specific forensic expertise for evidence elimination. Dexter's protocol followed identical procedures: plastic-wrapped rooms, M99 tranquilization, surgical dismemberment, Gulf Stream disposal. Every step eliminated physical evidence. Hannibal created theatrical displays with posed victims and distinctive signatures. He left bodies where they'd be discovered. Dexter targeted confirmed murderers who evaded justice, criminals whose disappearance wouldn't trigger investigations. Hannibal selected victims based on rudeness. His targets included patients and Baltimore Society members, creating obvious investigative connections. Dexter's near capture came from external factors like accidental discovery, never forensic evidence. FBI Special Agent Frank Lundy's task force couldn't trace evidence to Dexter. Hannibal was caught through his intellectual patterns. In the book and film continuity, Will Graham recognized the wound man illustration matched victims' injuries, and Hannibal attacked him with a linoleum knife before being arrested. In the NBC series, Will exposed Hannibal in the season 2 finale, and he was later caught in Italy. Treatment records connected him to victims across all continuities. When confronted, his violent response confirmed guilt. The comparison showed why Dexter represents fictional serial killer perfection, while Hannibal represents intellectual vanity. Dexter's methodology focused on evidence elimination. Hannibal's existence was designed around demonstrating sophistication. If Dexter Morgan existed with his exact methods, he would represent one of the most sophisticated serial killers documented. The Bay Harbor Butcher investigation only existed through accidental discovery. Hannibal Lecter existed with his methods across Thomas Harris's novels, multiple film adaptations, and the NBC series. He was a forensic psychiatrist in the books and films, or a psychiatrist surgeon in NBC, who created theatrical displays, served victims at dinner parties, killed patients, and left distinctive signatures. In the book and film canon, he was caught by Will Graham recognizing an illustration matched victim injuries. In the NBC series, Will exposed him through a different confrontation. His sophistication couldn't compensate for the patterns his artistry created. One man operated nearly 2 decades, killing over 100 people and nearly escaped detection. The other killed dozens across different continuities and was caught through his own patterns. That difference shows why professional forensic training beats psychiatric expertise. If you enjoyed this breakdown comparing Dexter's forensic precision to Hannibal's theatrical artistry, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. And check out our previous video, why Sergeant Dokes vs. Zodiac Killer isn't even close.